Good evening. Such as it is, tragedy is in the news tonight. A Pan American jetliner taking off from Moisant Field crashed into a neighborhood in the city of Kenner at 11 minutes past 4 o'clock this afternoon. First reports say it was Flight 759, a flight from New Orleans to Las Vegas. Eyewitnesses on the scene say the Pan Am jetliner crashed into an area along 17th Street between Webster and Roosevelt. You see the map on your screen right now. Now, we just checked with the Federal Aviation Administration, and they tell us that the plane went down about 2 miles from the end of runway 10. An FAA investigation team is on the way. We can also tell you that several homes in the area are on fire. Our first reports say that as many as 6 homes are completely engulfed in flames. With me on the telephone is Bill Capo, who is out in the area. Bill?
Bill, you'll have to bear with me. I'm still breathing a little bit hard.
Sure.
The scene, they still haven't got anything under control. Homes are still ablaze. Councilman Willie Hoff told me that he had seen that at least 7 homes were burning, and I could see the tail of the plane lying on its side in the middle of the homes. Scattered amid bricks and other debris were pieces of the plane. I could see wheels, I could see baggage. It really is an undescribable scene. The residents of this neighborhood, many of them saw it. With me is Linda Cantelli. She lives about a block away. What did you see?
I was a block away, and I saw a big explosion that lit up the sky. We knew something had exploded. I thought it was the oil station at first, and I was coming down Roosevelt. I didn't know it was my house or what. We got through, and its house is 2 blocks away, a block and 2 blocks away from us. And it's pretty bad over here. People are hysterical.
Bill,
Yes, I'm here.
A number of Linda Cantelli's neighbors don't know yet whether their houses are intact or whether their relatives who were in the houses at the time, what has become of them. As I say, things are still not in control. Traffic in this area is terrible because a lot of the major arteries, including West Metairie, are blocked off. What some people might find unbelievable is that sightseers are coming out, adding to the problems. Sightseers are coming out to take a look at this. They are compounding things for emergency units trying to reach this area, compounding things for police trying to control this area and get emergency units in and out. And so we would ask people, as the authorities are asking people, to stay away from this area unless you absolutely have to, unless it's an absolute emergency. We'll check back with you later.
All right. Thank you, Bill Capo. Bill Capo reporting by telephone live from Kenner. Now, you were flying over the area just a short while ago.
Most of the areas you just saw, Bill, were shot by photographer Wayne Strickland and I. We were up in the air. It appeared to us as though if the aircraft, in fact, was taking off from west to east, that he had gotten approximately anywhere from 1 mile to 1.5 miles off the end of the runway before he struck the ground. One of the things that was difficult for us to view from the area, there's a 5-mile restriction on getting too close, but as you can see from the aerials you're looking at right now, that smoke is dense. We noticed that there was quite a bit of flame reflection while we were up into the smoke. Although you couldn't see the fire, you could see some flame reflection there. The trail of smoke you're looking at right now was approximately 8 miles in length. There was a lot of smoke. You're looking at it from at least 5 miles away. So that may give you some idea of a visualization of what we're talking about. The area that was struck appeared to be densely populated, although there was quite a number of trees in that area. It was located somewhere between, I would say, halfway between Airline Highway and what looked like West Metairie. It looked pretty bad, Bill.
If it's of any interest to you, I have a satellite picture framed for 9 minutes before the crash.
Yes, we'd like to take a look at it.
At 4:01, and I have a current radar picture which shows that that line of thunderstorms was there but has moved on to the west. As I told you, I had one just a few minutes before the accident which showed a heavy thunderstorm in the area. I just don't have it anymore on the recorder. If you want to take a look, if I can punch this thing up and let you see. This is a satellite picture 9 minutes before the actual crash. And this is the heavy thunderstorm activity that was in the area at the time. You can see it. This is southeast Louisiana here, and the cursor is showing you exactly that area of problem right in there. And that, as I said, is just 9 minutes before the crash. Now, the radar picture as of this moment, this is still a heavy thunderstorm a little bit to the west of the airport, or southwest, as Ed Martin talked about. It drifted on over that way. This is the rest of the line that has moved on to the west, and you can see that it's quite an intense line, and this dark green indicates very heavy thunderstorm activity, and there's still a little dark green just to the west of the airport right now. So there's no question that there was very rough weather in the area. The question is whether that was a factor or not.
Norman Robinson is standing by right now with some updated information. Let's go directly to Norman with a live report. Norman?
Just a moment ago, I had a man approach me to ask me if I knew whether there were any survivors on the plane. I told him I did not know, but I did tell him that it looked pretty grim.
Okay, now, Dennis Walter was one of the first people out of the newsroom when we got word of the crash. He is at the site in Kenner. We have a live report. Dennis?
Garland, we're at the scene where we have numerous community officials and rescue units on the scene. And Larry Wynn, a man in the neighborhood who saw this plane when it came down. It's resting about 2 blocks down from here. Larry was in his yard, which is about 2 houses over. Larry, tell us what you saw.
I heard this loud noise like a plane taking off, and it was extra loud, like right around the corner. Me and wife sitting on the porch, we looked over here, and the plane hit a tree and kind of bounced up and then went down on a house on the next street over. And it made a big explosion and a lot of fire.
Can you describe, did you see people when this happened? Did you see?
No, sir, I never seen no people. But I seen the whole plane hit the house.
Okay, Larry, thank you very much. And with us also is Donna Vignair, who is an X-ray technician and who has been back here with other medical staffers trying to help out. What have you seen back there?
From what I have seen, this is the worst thing I have ever seen. There seem to be no survivors of any kind aboard the plane.
Apparently no survivors from the plane itself. It's not clear how many people on the ground were hurt. Mayor Aaron Broussard of Kenner.
The combating this fire and this great catastrophe was complicated by a tremendous rainstorm that initially hampered a lot of efforts to locate residents that were scattered and people that were injured. As we arrived on the scene, there were a number of burn victims, people and residents that were immediately transported to hospitals. We've set up a burn center here. Any medical staff that has the experience in treating burns, we'd ask them to come using my authority to come to this site as clearance at the corner of 17th and Fairway to help us with potential fire victims. Apparently no survivors to this plane crash, and as soon as the FAA has come in and surveyed the area, we'll be transporting the bodies of the victims directly to a hangar that Delta Airlines has made available. I want to commend at this time the fire department and the Chief of Police, Sal Antini, Harry Lee, Sheriff of Jefferson Parish, and the Civil Defense for coming in and responding so quickly and so efficiently to this particular catastrophe, because we have people that were scattered around looking for relatives. We've had people that were fleeing from their homes. It was an absolute catastrophe. I was personally participating in fighting the fire of the last major plane crash in this city when it hit the Hilton Inn. This is far greater in its catastrophic proportions.
We don't know whether there was a lightning strike or not, but there's some people said they saw it, and it's certainly a possibility with a severe thunderstorm in the area. The other thing is that during that period you run through severe wind shear. In other words, very strong winds changing direction with a very short distance in altitude. And sometimes this can cause you to stall out too, you know.
Wasn't that the same plane, same type of phenomenon you were talking about that either happened at Kennedy or Chicago Airport?
It was Flight 66 number Eastern that left here and tragically took so many Louisianians.
It was landing at the time.
It was landing, but it was a wind shear.
Yeah, but it was a wind shear. And this is something nobody's mentioned or talked about, and this is a common problem in severe thunderstorm activity. Severe wind changes and in strong gusts. And you must remember that this aircraft was taking off from the west towards the east, and all the smoke there that I see in the film shows a strong southerly wind. So therefore he was taking either he could have been taking off in a crosswind from the south, blowing him towards the north, and that would have account too for the drift off to the left after he got into trouble.
Nash, what type of a speed factor do you think he had built in from stall point to flying point at
well,
that
they don't break ground until they get it, I guess in my day, we used to call it V2.
Yes, still called V2.
V2, which means a velocity that you could still fly on 2 engines.